The commitments keep rolling in the middle of last week. Five-star wide receiver Mylan Graham committed to Ohio State. And over the weekend, a top 10 quarterback in the class of 2024, Air Noland, he committed to Ohio State as well.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Monday, April 10th in the year 2023, and this episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com/college60 and use code college60 for 60% off plus free shipping. During this episode, we will discuss how Air Noland plans on helping Buckeye recruiting and how we should view freshman players who flash during spring practice. But before we get to any of that, not one, not two, but there have been 5 verbal commitments over the past 3 weeks that have rolled into The Ohio State University. Offensive lineman Deontay and Devontae Armstrong, James Peoples, running back out of the state of Texas, 5-star receiver Mylan Graham out of the state of Indiana, and then a top 10 quarterback from the state of Georgia. Mr. Air Noland is the latest player to commit to The Ohio State University. This is something that has been brewing, that has been thought about, and even on last Wednesday's show with John Garcia Jr., we discussed who the next player might be to commit to Ohio State, and he mentioned Air Noland and went on for about a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, about why his thoughts were leaning towards Air Noland possibly being the next player to commit to Ohio State. Literally less than 24 hours after that show came out, maybe less than 24 hours since John and I recorded that show, Mylan Graham committed. Now, he's a talented receiver out of the state of Indiana. Someone that I'm excited to see be a Buckeye. But the commitment from Air Noland carries more weight than the one from Mr. Graham. If you get a quarterback like this young man, as accurate as Air Noland is, as athletic as Air Noland is, a leader, a young man that went undefeated last year. If you get a guy that has that package put in him and you bring it to Ohio State, you already got 2 5-star receivers. You might add 2 or 3 more because they want to catch balls from this young man. Might I add that he is a lefty? Now, in my head, I can't think of any Buckeye quarterback that I can remember that is a left-handed quarterback. I'm sure there has been a left-handed quarterback at Ohio State, but it's rare. Extremely, extremely rare. So you bring a southpaw to Columbus. You add in the athleticism that he possesses, the accuracy that he possesses, and also that his teammate, Jelani Thurman, his high school teammate, is currently at Ohio State. You put all of that in the lab, this could be a recipe for success for a long time at Ohio State. Now, Air Noland is one of those guys that, sitting at 6'3", 195 pounds, he was sought out by everybody. If you want an elite quarterback, if you want somebody that can do it all, and it's a left-handed guy, everybody want him. And Ohio State got his services, a verbal commitment from this young man. Noland picked Ohio State over Miami, Texas A&M, Clemson, Oregon, Alabama, and Arkansas. And before recording this show, one of the Armstrong twins went back. Ooh, buddy, I love this stuff. He went back and pulled up a picture from Ohio State beating Miami in the 0-2 BCS National Championship game where Maurice Clarett is holding the ball after stripping Sean Taylor and recovering that fumble. And it was Deontay Armstrong. The caption for this, some things never change, ... Now, I don't know if Miami was in second place, but my thought is Miami was probably in second or third place because of that picture there. These athletes, these recruits, they know what's going on. They talk to each other. They know who is being recruited by what school and who is being recruited by that school. They know who is being pulled in one way or the other. They know what they understand the game, which is why whenever you see things like that, it might be a sign of Miami maybe saying, hey, come to Miami. We're not Ohio State. We can't provide what Ohio State has. Our stadium isn't even on campus. We got money, bro. We got the bag. Come on here and get this money. I mean, people been getting paid in college to go places for a long time, and I don't think it's going to change. I'm not saying the money may have been thrown at Air Noland's way. I don't know, but I would not be shocked if A&M or Miami or any of these schools were trying to throw money at him to sway his decision to come to that school. But you add a left-handed quarterback. You got 2 5-star receivers in this recruiting class. You got 4 offensive linemen. It's a solid base. It's structured how you want to structure it. You got a running back. You probably want to add another running back and Sam Williams-Dixon, possibly Sam Williams-Dixon. You're probably going to want to add a tight end. Max LeBlanc recently put Ohio State in his top 4. So there's a lot of things going on with Ohio State right now recruiting. And getting Air Noland at this time of year in April, a week before the spring game is played, knowing there are going to be a ton of recruits at Ohio State next weekend, and we'll be trying to think, hey, see, what's Ohio State like? Now, it's not an actual game. It's more of a scrimmage atmosphere, but it is still technically a game. The end of spring practice. What are we going to see? How are we going to see things? What's going to transpire during that time period? Will Air Noland be there? My guess is yes. My guess is he is going to be busy out there trying to recruit guys like, hey, man, I know you want to catch the ball from a good quarterback. Come to me. How good is this young man? This guy is talented, man. I believe he had 55 touchdown passes a year ago. He was able to do a little bit of everything. And I think it's exactly why Ryan Day, Corey Dennis, Brian Hartline did everything that was needed to get the junior quarterback out of the state of Georgia to come up north. 55 touchdowns a year ago, threw for almost 4,100 passing yards. That's my kind of guy. And I cannot wait to see what Air Noland does when he plays football at the Ohio State University. There's a little bit of time between now and the time that Air Noland will put the Buckeye jersey on for the first time, which makes me wonder what will he do between now and then to help Ohio State be a better football team. Well, he has a little idea about what he can do right now to help the football team. We'll discuss what that is next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Grand slams, no-hitters, and double plays are back. And there's no better place to get in on the MLB action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now, new customers can step up to the plate with a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon, sign up, place your first bet, and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win. So don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon and go there to sign up. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. So I'm all about trying to see how recruits are thinking about the future. I'm all about what their plans are. Are they planning on focusing on the high school and finishing up their next year playing the football? Are they thinking about the recruiting and maybe recruiting their own teammates in high school saying, hey, man, hey, you a dog. You know you can help us. Come on to Columbus. What is their mindset? And when it comes to Air Noland, this comes from a tweet that I got from Patrick Murphy. He covers Ohio State for bucksnuts.com. And he had something pretty interesting to talk about, to discuss when it comes to Air Noland. It said Air Noland's thought process and kind of its focus in recruiting is adding more beef on the offensive line in that recruiting class. Offensive line first, defense second. Now, you are a big piece of the pie, and I guarantee many of you listen to the Locked On Buckeyes on a regular basis or maybe a semi-regular basis, and you have seen Ohio State's current structure of their 2024 recruiting class. We talk about it with John Garcia Jr. when he comes on to discuss the Buckeye recruiting. We talk about it here. The Buckeyes already have 4 offensive linemen in this recruiting class alone. Ian Moore, standing at 6'5", 295. You got Deontay Armstrong, 6'6", 280. Devontae Armstrong, 6'4", 265. And then Mark Nave, 6'5", 315. You got a couple guys, 3 guys that can play inside. One guy's probably going to be an offensive tackle. Ian Moore's one, I do believe. He's listed as inside offensive line on 247. I think Ian Moore will actually be an offensive tackle once he comes to Ohio State. So you may say, Jay, does he understand what he just said, that he's thinking about helping Ohio State recruit the offensive line? Absolutely. Because just because there's 2 factors to this. One of them, just because somebody is committed to Ohio State verbally does not mean they're going to sign a national letter of intent to play at Ohio State during the next signing day. There's a lot of time. There's going to be a lot of guys taking visits. Some will take official visits other places. Some may be swayed to a different school. You can't stop recruiting anybody, excuse me. And one thing we noticed about how Buckeyes have thought they had a quarterback in Brock Glenn, and then he decommitted, and they ended up getting Lincoln Kienholz. Almost said another player's name, but they got Lincoln Kienholz a little bit late, really late in the game. And why? Because, one, you can't stop recruiting. Just because somebody's verbally committed does not mean they want to stay there to sign that national letter of intent on the national signing day. And Ian Moore, wow, my names are all crazy. Air Noland understands that. He understands that any of the names I just mentioned, Ian Moore, Mark Nave, or Deontay or Devontae Armstrong, any of them can be pulled from Ohio State. Any of them can be saying, oh, I got a verbal here, here's a decommitment, and I'm going to announce another verbal commitment about 2 minutes later. They can do all of those things. Why? That's just the nature of the beast. A&M, Texas A&M, Miami, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, Oklahoma, Texas. All of these schools are never going to stop recruiting the guys that are verbally committed to Ohio State. Now, they may back off a little bit, but if they think there's some traction, if they think they can pull you from where you're currently committed to verbally, they're going to try. And Aaron Noland understands that. That's one factor to it. But another one, he also understands that you can never have too many offensive linemen. What's a talking point or a reality with Ohio State's offensive line right now during spring practice? One, you don't know who the starting 5 is. Starting 5, left tackle or right tackle. You don't know what that unit is going to be right now. And then number 2, behind the guys that are starters, there really is no depth. Now, there are players. Are they quality backups? Are they quality players? Are they guys that in a pinch, if somebody goes down on 3rd and 8, you punt the ball, coming back on the very next series, you can go ahead and bring that guy in? I mean, you could bring him in. Will they be a good piece? Probably not. Which is why you got to constantly recruit the guys you got verbally committed. You got to constantly keep recruiting other guys. Because let's just say Justin Fry says, ooh, I want 7 guys. I want 5 guys. Then I want 2 more. What are they going to do? Make things tough in practice because everybody's going to be fighting, scratching, clawing to simply get reps and also to be a big piece of the pie. You're going to be trying to do that to simply be higher on the depth chart. And Ohio State and Justin Fry, I think he's kind of like a Ryan Day. Let's build this thing up via recruiting a little bit. If we need to go to the portal, we can. But if we don't do it. So I do like that Aaron Noland's putting a focus on building the offensive line. Those are the guys that are going to protect him. Those are the guys that are going to be out there doing all the ugly work and the dirty work and grinding to keep Aaron Noland's jersey clean. Now, I say clean, you're playing on turf, which I wish Ohio State would change the turf because that's a big reason why. Possibly why a lot of the players at Ohio State, there have been more injuries lately, more lower leg injuries. it's a part of the turf, and that the type of turf Ohio State uses is actually on the list that I do believe in the NFL. The NFL players are trying to get it banned so NFL teams can't use it, but Ohio State has it on the practice field and in the shoe. So even though it's new in the shoe, it's still not quality turf in the shoe. So if we see injuries, lower leg injuries, just remember, Ohio State's using turf that numerous elite athletes are saying is unsafe to play on. So Air Noland's focused on the offensive line. Gotta get guys in there to block for you. It ain't all about you. You gotta use your tactics and your ability to build a well-rounded recruiting class, but then also going to go to the defense. Now think about this. A lot of guys out there would probably say, "Oh, I'm gonna go get me a couple receivers. I'm gonna go get me a tight end or two. That's gonna be my focus." No, he said O-line first and then defense. Because when he's not out there on the field, what do you want? Guys on defense that can get the job done so the ball gets back to you so that when you have the ball again, you're able to score. This young man, Mr. Noland, just threw for almost 4,100 yards, 4,095 yards to be exact his junior year, went 15-0, threw 55 touchdowns, ran for 5 touchdowns. He can do a little bit of everything. But you also know what you need to do, what you need to have to be undefeated? A good defense. A really good defense. And he understands he can only be on the field a portion of the time. Offense is on the field. There are 2 other parts of a team that's on the field if the offense is not there. Special teams or the defense. And so when you have that factor, when you have that thought in your mind, it makes sense why this young man, Mr. Air Noland, is focusing on the O-line, the guys that are blocked for him. You focus on that. You have your focus there properly. You understand that if you get this right, things will be good for you. It's going to be better for your longevity and your time playing at Ohio State. And maybe you'll throw for over 4,000 yards at Ohio State. Maybe you'll have 55 throwing touchdowns at Ohio State. Why? Because of the focus you put early on recruiting the guys that want to make your job easier. But let's not forget the defense. I don't think this is normal for a lot of guys to think well-rounded like this. I'm not saying it's uncommon. I don't think it's normal. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Air Noland to Ohio State, the 4-star quarterback out of the state of Georgia. I love that he's here, and I cannot wait to see. Now, we got to wait a little bit of time. I love having a southpaw being coached by Ryan Day, Corey Dennis, and Brian Hartline. Hopefully, Brian Hartline stays. He has career aspirations to go to the NFL. I mean, hey, I don't blame him. But let's just wait and see if Air Noland is playing under a Brian Hartline offense, is playing with Ryan Day, is being coached by Corey Dennis. Because if that's possible, if that's what happens, man, that's a formula for success. There is also a formula for success when it comes to incoming players, either early enrollees or summer enrollees, the freshmen. That is a formula for success that takes some time. Well, you hear about guys that flash during spring practice, but should we read into that statement about them? We'll discuss that next right here on Locked on Buckeyes. So over the past few weeks, since spring practice has been going on, I have been hearing a lot about how certain guys have been flashing during practice. Jelani Thurman, tight end. Carnell Tate, wide receiver. It was a couple guys that quickly come to my mind and that people say, ooh, he's flashing. He's doing some good stuff. He is doing things that you can build on. He is doing things that you want a guy at Ohio State to do early on in his career. Now, it's the spring practice. They really are supposed to be seniors in high school. They graduated early from high school, came to Ohio State, and now they're at Ohio State practicing. I remember this last year with Sonny Styles and CJ Hicks, not denying that they're talented players and that they could be. I'm not saying will be. We haven't seen them play enough on the field to make a will be statement. But they could be big pieces of the pie in really good players at Ohio State. The thought or the belief is there that they can be. Deny anybody saying will be because they haven't played that much at Ohio State. But I heard it last year. People saying, ooh, put Sonny Styles in. Put CJ Hicks in. On what basis? Oh, because they're from Ohio. Oh, because they looked the part. Oh, because of this. Oh, because of that. And none of it really was because of things they saw with their own eyes on the football field. I will not deny that Jelani Thurman or Carnell Tate or when Brandon Ennis comes to Ohio State that he'll be playing well down the road, or any of the other guys, Lincoln Kienholz, when he comes on the campus. I will never deny to say that they might be good down the road. But just because somebody flashes right now in spring practice does not mean they automatically need to be playing and in the rotation at whatever position that they play. Because if that's the case, I would take one player for this example. Carnell Tate, 5-star receiver. This young man, I've been hearing a lot of stuff. I've been reading articles. I've been even heard Ryan Day talk about it. A lot of people are saying Carnell Tate, they're wowed at how he is. His route tree and his route running is exceptional. He's a phenomenal player, phenomenal young man. He doesn't make the same mistake twice. He learns from everything. He's coachable. He conducts himself like a Buckeye needs to conduct himself off the field. I've heard all the good things about him. But all of a sudden, think about this, though. Think about this very thought. If Carnell Tate's experience during spring practice and him flashing and being very, very good on the football field and doing the things that Brian Hartline wants, if that is all it takes for him to get on the field, Marvin Harrison Jr., these are guys that are probably going to, that should play, that will play. Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Egbuka, Jaden Ballard, Julian Fleming. If you got those four guys, those are your top four receivers. Kojo Antwi, you're just going to say, oh, you're going to jump him. He's been at campus for a long time. He's been flashing as well. Oh, because Carnell Tate's an incoming guy, he's just going to be thrust into the rotation and jump over numerous guys that know the playbook very well. They know what Brian Hartline wants. They know all the things, and all of a sudden, just because the incoming freshman flashes, he needs to get thrust onto the field on Saturday afternoons? No. Patience, my friend. Same with Jelani Thurman. Now, this young man needs to hit the weight room, like flashing or not. I've seen pictures of him in practice. He can be good. Put on about 10, 15 pounds of muscle. Like, put some muscle on, because you're going to need to do so to be a good player at Ohio State. Be a good tight end at Ohio State when you play Big Ten football. So Jelani Thurman, another example. If he comes out here and keeps flashing and keeps playing well and has a good play during the spring game, and if he played good during the scrimmage during last week's practice, what can you say about that? Oh, are you going to tell me that he needs to just be cased over? Like, are you just going to tell me that he needs to go over all the other tight ends? No, you don't. No. Being good right now in practice is great. I would not deny that. But let the process work itself out. Patience. Be patient. It takes guys a long time to get used to football at this level. Most guys. There are some that come in, quickly pick that bad boy up, and the rest is history. Most athletes, probably 99% of athletes, take a little bit of time to get acclimated to not just the level of football that Ohio State plays consistently, to get acclimated to the level of football at this level of college football. So it might not even be Ohio State's level. It could easily be Purdue level, or an Indiana level, or an Illinois level, or a Nebraska. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it takes guys quite a bit of time to play football and to get acclimated to this level of college football. So just because somebody flashes during spring practice doesn't mean they automatically need to play football in the fall at Ohio State every Saturday. Spring practice is one thing. It's a different animal when you're out there on Saturday afternoons in the fall. Guys, I love being back. We'll talk more spring practice. Look forward to trying to get John Garcia Jr. back on the show as well during this week. We're going to continue with our draft conversations and trying to find out what NFL teams think about Buckeyes that will get drafted at the end of the month. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. I'm looking forward to the spring game this weekend. I'm also looking forward to enjoying the beautiful weather we're going to have in this part of the country. Tornadoes, hopefully they are gone. I'm tired of them. The inclement weather, the wind, the rain, I'm tired of it. I'm looking forward to the sunshine we're going to enjoy all week long.